we're going to start today with a recipe that Eddie especially loves them, and I like them too if they're good ones, and that's scones. And they are easy to make, y'all. And I'm just going to make the basic scone that's on our website, and it's just a sour cream scone. So we've got our flour, we've got, well, we got our sugar, we got our salt, baking powder, baking soda, we got our egg, we got sour cream, half a cup of heavy cream, and a fourth of a cup of coarse sugar. And for that, I'm going to use turbinado sugar for the coarse sugar. And I will show you, I'll put some in a bowl so that you can see it's a much coarser sugar. So that's what we'll be using. So like I said, we are making sour cream scones, but the next time you can change it up. You can add blueberries or lemon flavor or an orange flavor. You can do whatever you want to them. You can add currant to your batter, currants, raisins, nuts. You can do whatever you want. But the first thing we're going to do, y'all, is we're going to pulse our flour, our sugar, our baking powder, our baking soda, and our salt. So we're just going to pulse that until it's combined. The next thing I'm going to do is pulse in the sour cream. See if I can do it that way. Yeah, it's not making too big of a mess. The next thing I'm going to do is drop our cold cubes of butter and pulse those in. And this is going to be a real stiff dough, y'all. I about let this little egg yolk get out of my sight line. I should have pulsed that in with the sour cream, but it's going to get pulsed in now, though, so no problem. The sticky batter. I've got to make sure I have some flour so it won't stick to my cloth. And speaking of this cloth, I know I've probably shared this with y'all before. My mother passed away in 1970, and this was one of her tablecloths. So Mama's been dead 30, 40, 54 years, and I still have her tablecloth, and it makes the best cloth to knead my biscuits and my doughs on. So when you think your tablecloth is shot, save it, honey, for kneading and rolling out dough on. Okie dokie. Like I said, it's a real sticky flour. So make sure you give yourself enough flour that you can knead your dough. It's a pretty dough. I'll try to get this in some semblance of a rectangle. Okay, so we're going to cut this into four equal squares. I didn't put enough flour on that knife. Then we're going to do it again. Then we're going to do it again. And then we're going to do it again. Does that look like a scone, Eddie?
Yeah.
Now we're going to transfer these to our baking sheet. Get rid of this. Okay, good deal, Lucille. So now we're going to take our heavy cream and we're going to brush the top of our scones with our heavy cream. And that's going to make them shiny. I wonder where the brush is. Those little silicone, here it is. Those little silicone things, they don't distribute the liquid like a brush does. I was too shy with my sugar.
Imagine.
I can't imagine.
That's why I gave you the whole container.
What in the hell?
Measuring it out.
Well, I wanted to pour it out so people could see how coarse turbinado sugar is. It's a lot coarser than regular sugar. It's certainly a lot coarser than brown sugar. Okay, so we'll see what we got. It's been a long time since I've made scones. My gosh, I think the last time I made scones, I might have been working in the restaurant. I can't remember. Okay, so about 12 to 14 minutes, Teresa.
Okay.
And that calls for way too much cream for that little bit of stuff. But we'll see. They look delicious, y'all. Some of them are fatter than others. But that's like us people. Some of us people are fatter than others. And there ain't nothing wrong with that. Look how pretty. Look how pretty that is. Now, I know that y'all have heard me talk about mayhaw jelly. It is a southern berry that grows around ponds and water. And my grandmother would pay somebody to go scoop them off. You've got to let the berries fall on top of the water, and then you just take a big net and scoop them out. So Grandma in her 80s was not capable of, first she couldn't drive. She never had a driver's license. But she'd pay somebody to get her berries and they'd bring them to her and she'd make this wonderful, wonderful mayhaw jelly. And this is definitely a southern thing. I would say I could go up north and they would never have heard of mayhaw.
Eddie.
No, and when I was looking at that, I want to say mayhaw, maybe like just here in Georgia, maybe. In like Southwest Georgia.
Yeah, and maybe so. It may be that regional, to Southwest Georgia. But this is delicious.
As Eddie said, you can't go wrong with butter, flour, and sugar.
And
sour cream.
It's delicious, y'all. So, like I said, turn this basic scone, and next time I will make them a little smaller. I'd like them about half that size. But doctor this up and change it into a flavor that you would love. Although this one ain't bad because you can make it whatever you want it to be. With what you put on it. Love and best wishes. Would y'all please have a scone with me?
Absolutely.
And is our tea ready, Teresa?
Hey y'all, it's Paula Deen. Now, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like it and click the subscribe button as well as the notification bell to be alerted when I post a video. Love and best dishes, y'all.